his dad sat down with me to reflect on the day his life changed forever.
As parents, you always want your children to have an impact, you know. Not this way, but, you know, I'm thankful it did have a positive impact through tragedy.
How hard it's been to keep going this year, the first year without his son.
I don't want to say this lightly, but it's a special day for me, and it always will be. Just take the time to pause and love on your family members and your friends and be thankful.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Okay, so I figured I was going through some old videos, like news clip videos and stuff like that from when Gannon first disappeared. So I figured I'd share some clips from the interviews that the news reporters had with Landen and Albert, and then the celebration of life that they had for Gannon. Gannon's dad, Al, talked. So did Landen. Okay, so first I'm going to share just like a compilation of the interviews that Landen and Al did with the news. So I'll do that first, and then we'll do the memorial and celebration of life clips. Those ones are a little bit longer, but they're very touching. So I would recommend staying and watching it. It's nice. And yeah, okay.
I'm Landen Hyatt, Gannon's mom, and I encourage you guys, I know many of you mothers and fathers, I encourage you just to find him. I'm so thankful for all the outpouring help that this case has brought. My son is a very loving kid. He wouldn't want harm on anybody at all. And it's so hard to just think, why is this happening to him? I have no clue, but my kid deserves to come home. My kid has a purpose. My kid has a life. And it's important to me. And it's important to everybody that's standing in this room. Gannon, Bubba, little man, mommy's hero, wherever you're at, mommy and daddy's here. And we're begging and pleading for you to come home. I know that's your biggest wish, is to see mommy and daddy standing here. We're here, Bubba. We're here for you, and I can't wait till you're found, because I have hope that you are going to be found. You are my hero. You are the reason why I have life. He's so special to me. I don't think many people can understand. My child was a 1 pound, 6 ounce baby. He had a 10% chance of survival. If he survived, he would be profoundly disabled. None of that is accurate. He's gifted and talented. Do anything for anybody. So I'm begging, I'm pleading, if anybody has any type of lead, put yourself in my situation. Ask yourself, what would you do? My Savior is a great Savior. And I know I have hope and that my son's going to be here. I'm thankful for the churches, the pastors, the outpouring support from this community, from Albert's military, family, everybody, the detectives. It was you that was sitting at the table, and you told me that 90% success rate, and you told me that I'm going to find Gannon. I believe that. It's the first time I had hope since I got that call on Monday. I have hope. So please have hope with me. I'm begging. Bring my baby home. Bubba, I love you. Mommy loves you so much. Nova loves you. Lena loves you. This room is filled with people that love you, and this community loves you too. So please come home, baby. Please come home.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what Landon said, that what an incredible community we have. I mean, everybody in here, in a team, incredible team that, I came out my front door, I think it was Tuesday, and there was 300 people out there searching my neighborhood. It blew me away. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Again, and Daddy loves you so much. Please come home.
People ask, how do you stay strong? Because my boy's strong. That survival is in me. and I can't give up.
The day Gannon Stauch was born, doctors told his parents he had a 10% chance of survival.
The first 2 months I didn't get to hold him.
Every day was a battle to get to her baby.
To hold my baby for the first time. That's what I want to do right now. Just hold my baby.
11 years later, she's fighting to hold him again. It's been 26 days since 11-year-old Gannon Stauch disappeared from his home. Today, a blue ribbon where investigators suspended the search for Gannon in an area they were just digging and sifting through in South Douglas County.
To not see anything sometimes, it just kind of, Gannon wouldn't give up, you know? He didn't give up. And it's not having answers and expecting to wake up, hoping. It gets tough.
Tough, not knowing where he could be, who may have him, how he's doing.
And normally mommies have answers, you know, or have a Band-Aid to put on a boo-boo. Like, we're the ones that normally handle that. And not knowing where he's at, if he's okay, if he's cold, if he doesn't have food, like that's a mom's role. And I can't get to him, and you kind of feel like a failure when you can't. And like I said, 3-4 weeks, farthest I've gone talking to him, not talking to him, is 3 days. And thank goodness for this. Because I hear his voice.
Will you play it again?
Yeah.
I have another sister.
Gannon's voice and a stuffed animal a neighbor made for his little sisters. He has 2 sisters, one 8 years old, another 18 months. He adores them, and they miss him.
Albert asked, she was like, what do you think about Bubba? And she pointed outside and she said, he's alive. So that's what she's holding on to.
A family fighting every day with nothing but faith.
Because this is getting hard. It's getting extremely hard. And I just need him. Send my baby home. This is the longest time that I have not heard his voice. And the only thing I can do is just keep playing videos back and forth of Mommy, I love you.
Gannon was last seen on surveillance video getting into a truck with his stepmother. But hours later, when she got back, he wasn't in sight. On that same day, he was reported missing. Today, crews searched in Douglas County in hopes of finding a clue.
Like, only thing that I can question is like, why? Why Gannon? Because he doesn't deserve this at all. By no means. I need my boy. Like, more than air. More than life.
Hyatt says she wants answers.
It's still hard. It's terrifying. I have my youngest every single morning. Bubba, Bubba, Bubba. How do you explain that?
She describes her son as caring, with a love for cheesy jokes.
The only thing I want to do is go to sleep, wake up, and Gannon be back.
At one point during the interview,
Can I stop?
Hyatt's emotions took over. She admits she has a lot of questions and emotions.
I've been angry, mad, and upset.
But she's trying to stay focused, pleading with the public for credible tips.
You just don't disappear without a trace.
And her son to come home.
Bubba, if you see this, Mommy wants you home. I know that you want to be home. And I would do anything in this world to make sure that I can get to you. You're my hero. You're my baby. I'm here. I'm waiting for you. And I want you to come home so bad. Really, I'm not in the correct mindset to be even standing up here, but if I had to say one thing, that when he said Gannon is no longer with us, I'd have to say Gannon is with us. After the stories of people from all over the world, he's not only my hero now, he's the world's hero. So I think the community, the positive support from a state that I've never visited other than 2 or 3 times, I'm astounded by the amount of love that's not come from me. It's came from my boy. And never thought I'd be standing here. It's a nightmare. I've had to put trust in the people I don't know. Today, I got the worst news and the best news. Obviously, we know what the worst news is, but the best news is that justice will be served. And I'll make sure that justice is served, because my boy did not deserve any of this that has happened to him. So I urge media one more time just to hold off on questions until we know this person, the stepmom that I even trusted, that she will pay 100% for this heinous thing she done. And I know that that's going to will be done. So I ask you guys, I beg and plead of you, if you've known or if you see this story, all of you have seen this story, please hold that very close to you. Because I want to live this earth knowing that justice was served for my boy. And I know that you've seen pictures, you've seen stories, you've seen my little man. He is truly my hero. And I'm gladly giving that to you guys too, that he can be your hero. I've heard stories of people that have not prayed in years, that have finally fell on their knees to pray. And I know where my son's at, without a shadow of a doubt. So many families have been brought closer together because of this. I know my boy is special, and I've told my people and my family and friends that Gannon has a testimony, that Gannon has a story. He's special. And this is his story. So make that story magnificent, who my child is. And I'm putting my trust into you guys to do that. So thank you for allowing Gannon to be your hero and sharing him with us. How do I describe my G-Man, my Gannon? Gannon's my hero. I love him so much. He's not only my hero, he has multiple people that call him his hero as well. He has so many family members that just look up to him at such a small age. He's full of life. He's happy. He's energetic. He loves sports. He loves Sonic. He loves going outside, playing with his friends, his sister, his neighbor, especially Braden. This neighborhood basically gives you a true example of who my son is. Everybody coming together, all the smiles that people have. This is why I have hope, because I feel it. This is Gannon truly speaking to our community. Gannon he loves blue, he loves Sonic, he's into coding, he loves riding his bicycle with his sister, and I know that he's missing that right now. He holds his job as being Big Bubba very important, and for him not to be able to talk to his sisters has to be hurting him. This week has been awful. It's been more than a roller coaster ride. It's been more than emotional mess. I don't even have answers for my feelings other than I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I will never hear his voice, that I will never hear him run and say, "Mommy," that I'll never hear those corny jokes that he always tells every single day. He has to tell me a joke. He looks forward to telling me something silly. And I'm afraid that I may never see that again or hear it. I don't want to believe that, because that means that I'm giving up hope, and I'm not giving up hope because my son is full of hope. So I'm urging anyone that has any leads, credible leads, if you're too afraid because you know something, a kid just doesn't disappear and no one sees him. It's not how this works. So if you have anything that's credible, if you're afraid, don't worry about it. Imagine my son, how afraid he is. Imagine how afraid Gannon is. So please call, please write. If you need to have someone else to do it for you, please do. Because my son deserves to be here. He deserves to be here. Please call the El Paso Sheriff's County and let them know. And I thank you guys, the community, for what you've done, because this is Gannon. This is who he is. And I thank you guys so much.
When Gannon was born, he weighed only 1 pound and 6 ounces, and even today he's still our miracle child. He still is. And he's such a happy child, and he just brings life to every party. His smile, even today, is keeping us going. His infectious smile brings me joy every time I think about it. The past 8 days have been, as Landen said, a roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes we jump in for joy because we get an information that we might think is a break in the case, and then the next minute we get we see something or get information that just breaks our heart into a million pieces again. But through all this, just know that your thoughts and your prayers and your messages keep them coming, because even if we don't respond, we are receiving them, and that has given us strength to get through this. And I do want to say I'm so proud of Lena, my little baby girl here, and of Landen, you know, my children's mother. They've been so strong through this, stronger than I would have ever thought that I could have ever been, and I'm getting strength from them as well. As I said, please keep sending your thoughts and your prayers, because we are receiving them. And if you have any information at all that could help, please reach out to the El Paso County Sheriff's Office with only credible information, but any information that you think may help. Thank you so much. Your turn, baby.
I love you, Baba.
Okay, so here is Landen and Lena giving the eulogy at the celebration of life for Gannon Stauch.
One thing I guess I'll start off with is a funny joke, because one of the first times I talk to Gannon, he has to start off with some type of funny joke, right, Sissy? Okay, you want to answer this one?
Yeah.
Why does a duck have feathers?
Because his butt quack.
So our Bubba is just a life. He smiles. He has a smile that just brightens up the room. And that happened time he was able to smile. He just had a grace, an humbling spirit about him. I guess I can explain it as just an old man that would just sit and just have a heart of gold that would do anything for anybody. He didn't care who you are, what color you were, your disability. He didn't care where you came from. He's seen your heart. And I think we all have a heart. All of that's the same. So my son, we all know that he started out really, really small. It's the first time I had a peace that passed all understanding. Me and Albert were on the way to Florence, and I remember hitting every single bump on the road. And just something warm just hit me from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, knowing everything was going to be okay. And when the nurses came in and they said, he'll have a 10% chance of survival, and I know Albert remembers this too, and when Gannon came out, he was in a little Ziploc bag. Hannah and Miss Debbie were there, big group of family, and if I didn't have my family there, I don't know what I would have done. To pull me through, to pull Albert through, to pull all of the visitors that had been praying. And at that point, many churches, many family members fell to their knees. The only closest thing that I can see to that is when Gannon went missing. Not just from the USA, not just from Colorado, or a little town in Loris, or Green Sea. You have it all over the world. And I've learned something. What I've learned is that things don't go our way. I've also learned the reason why Gannon is my hero, and sometimes I forget by the way I act. Sometimes we all get kind of caught up in the moment. But Gannon is my hero. He gives me life. And the moments that I would feel the lowest, you'd see him just run to the door and say, "Hey, my beautiful mommy." And it just made all the bad feelings go away. And he did the same thing for Bug. I remember Buggy, we were sitting there and Daddy was there too, and we just told Gannon, we said, "Bubba, don't ever leave your sissy. Always stay beside her everywhere she goes." He never did. He was always there. A brother, which goes by Bubba. He was a brother to many, many families, many nephews, many nieces. And I think we can all say one thing in common, is there was not many people like him. I was chosen to be a mom of an angel. Albert, you were chosen to be a father of an angel. Lena, Nova, you were chosen to be a sister of an angel. And the people that are here, you've had experience of an angel. And I also want to take this time to say, I've had wrongdoings. And for the people that I've wronged, I just want to say I'm sorry, because I'm not representing who my son is. And he's done just that. He is my G-man. The reason for G-Man is because he's a gentleman. He'd open the doors. He'd say, yes, ma'am. He'd say, no, sir. You didn't really have to tell him much. He knew where to go. Only time you'd have to tell him something was when he's with the kids or he's trying to get candy and he was the first one in the pot. So he might get a little rough then and there. One thing that I remember the most is that he just loved music. He loved family time. He loved funnel vision. And he was singing. Every time that you would see Gannon, he was humming some song where it was, I'm blue, da-be-dee, whatever it was. He was always singing. I remember the song California Dreamin'. I think Azzy and Camille, I think you guys remember that he sings it. You remember it too?
Yeah, it's like, what did you say?
California Dreamin'. So he always kept our music alive. He'd be sitting in the back. He beatboxes better than most people. He can hear sounds and music that I can't hear. He was so in tune with life, so talented in many different ways. So many more ways than most of us sitting in the room. And I can say that I'm so honored to be his mom, to be in his life, to have the people here. Because Gannon's not only my hero, he's your hero. And it means the world to me. And I just want to say thank you for everyone that is here, for all the pouring loves from everywhere, from everything that was made, every letter, every card, every banner that was signed, every Facebook message, every letter that was sent in the mail, every light, every memorial, just means so much. And I remember when Gannon was born, that I knew he had a special calling. And Mommy had a gut feeling for a long time. And you're a real life princess. You're going to do anything in this world. And I know you can. And Bubba's going to be right there beside you. And for Nova and Lena, you had a brother that stuck to you like glue. He wouldn't want you to fall. He wouldn't want you to get hurt. He was Mr. Fix-It.
Only when I said I was gonna go tail, he said no, and then he just made me cheer up and forget about it.
Yeah, so he'd make her cheer up. So, but I knew Gannon had a special calling. I thought it was he would grow up and we'd see him leading many people, or whether it would be speaking, coding. I just knew that he had a huge calling, and I didn't know at 11 years old the calling that he would have. I'd still have him here with me, and I know that all of you would love to see him here with you too. But we have an angel among us, and I love you all, and I thank you for being here. I love you, Sissy. I love you, Nova.
Bubba was the nicest person, my only brother and my favorite brother. Every time I was going to tell on him, he just made me laugh and forget about it. We always had lots of fun. I love him, and he's the greatest person in the whole wide world that I know. We went to the pool together. We played Fortnite together. We played Fortnite in real life together. We played with all of our toys in Nana's room. He would make me foods, say when we need to go take a bath or shower, and watch TV with me downstairs. I love you, Bubba, and I miss you.
Okay, so here is Albert at the memorial service that they had for Gannon.
Before I get started, I have to admit something that I cheated and got a wingman. So, he's my self-proclaimed little brother comes to me. So, well, he says he's my little big brother, big whatever. You can see what he means. So, but I'm probably not going to make it through this. So he's gonna, when I lose it, he's gonna pick up for me. Just so you know, that's what's going on. So, Thank you, Pastor Paul, for being my welcome man. And also, Jackie, I don't know where you're sitting. You helped me out before with that as well, so I'm not very good at these emotional speeches. So here we go. Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged the punishment's the scroll. I am the master of the fate and the captain of my soul. This poem I just read is named Invictus. Some of you may have seen or heard it before, and translated from Latin means unconquerable. I start with that poem not to boast of my perseverance. I struggle daily with pushing onward and getting out of bed. But rather the poem states the fell clutch of circumstance that no man could have predicted nor possibly prevented. My purpose here today is twofold, and I start with that poem to convey to the world that I am the captain of my soul, a soul which I have given over to God long ago. I come before you today a broken man, celebrating the life of my precious, premature, and prepossessing son, whose story and legacy have captivated this community and parts of this country. Every parent wishes for their children to be successful, making their mark on this world in life or in death. Unfortunately, my sons came in the form of the latter. Nonetheless, as I discussed this tragedy over the past 6 months with my mother, my close friends, and Pastor Paul, as Lena calls him, I realized day in and day out that as I preached to him daily in regards to his little sister, as you heard from the stories from Chris and others, Gannon leaves a legacy of unity and togetherness. Just look around at everyone in this room. Read the social media responses from around the country and observe how unified the community was and is when his name is mentioned. It really did not truly hit me until I had to move out of my Lorson Ranch home, unwillingly. But one day, heading home to my new apartment, I stopped up at the intersection up here of Fontaine and Powers, looked back east through the sea of fog, and saw the sea of blue lights from the Lorson Ranch neighborhood permeating through the fog. As much as those lights and that scene was for my son, that was because of my son. Who was Gannon, you may ask? You've heard many stories today. Well, I knew him deeply, but honestly, I only knew him from a loving and satisfied father's perspective. Only after the memories started spilling in from his precious classmates and friends did I truly learn what influence my son had. And thank you, Caitlin, for sharing those memories from your class. Thank you. From the silly jokes to the willingness to always help his classmates with math or coding, he was an obvious joy to all who knew him. Although his life was short-lived as we know it, he lived, loved, and laughed to the fullest. I know his natural personality was a gift from God, but the nurture he received as he struggled for life in the NICU as a 1-pound and 6-ounce baby taught him from his first breath to love and keep fighting. I've never met a kid that loved every member of his family and friends completely, impartially, and unconditionally. My proudest moment as a dad came from none other than his interactions with his little sister, Lena. Way back in 2016, while playing Mario in our sweet garage man cave, as he called it, back where we lived at the time, he became frustrated with not being able to beat certain levels or accomplish whatever goal he had on that level. He, as many young gamers and even adult gamers sometimes, wanted to throw the controller, get mad, quit playing, leave, walk away. But I remember vividly scolding him, demanding him to sit back down and keep trying until we beat that level. Keep going. We're not going to quit. Telling him that you don't quit after failing. You got to figure out a way to beat it. And as most things we get on our kids for, I never realized the impact that would have on him until this past fall. Standing on the main floor of my home in Lorson Ranch, I heard downstairs in the basement, I heard Lena getting frustrated at the game they were playing and beginning to take that frustration out on Gannon. As many of you may have heard, one of her most vivid memories, things she misses the most about Gannon, she says, is being mean and fussing with him. So that makes perfect sense. I started to walk down the stairs and help guide them to a peaceful solution when I heard something that stopped me abruptly in my steps and brought a tear to my eye. Gannon, although maybe a little too assertively, said to Lena, "You're not going to quit. We're going to try again and again until we beat this level." And that was probably the proudest moment of my fatherhood. It later replied with a simple, "Okay, Bubba." So why do I captain my own soul, as I said, with God's direction? Because when we fail or get off course, we have to get back up. We have to get out of bed and wipe away our tears and figure out a way to beat this enemy. This leads me to the second part of my twofold purpose, my sweet baby girl, Lena. Most in this room do not know that as an 8-year-old, I experienced a significant life-altering tragedy in my life as well. Left wondering for 30 years about the who, what, where, the 5 W's and the why, I could only conclude I was being groomed for a tragedy that would strike my 8-year-old daughter. So, to my 8-year-old precious Lena, I say, baby, it's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh or be sad or be happy. It's okay to feel any way you want to feel. You do not know what truly happened or even why, but that's okay too. We will one day, and Daddy will be there every step of the way. For once we found out Bubba was gone, and when everybody went home at night, the police and the authorities were still looking and investigating for Bubba, and all our family had got home too. Who was right there snuggling and crying with you? It was me and you, baby. It was your daddy. When you have questions or when you get scared, run to your daddy, and I will be there for you. Write down in your journal every feeling, thought, or question you have for anybody, because one day you'll get your chance. And to my precious 18-year-old Lena, baby, by now, you will want to go ask people questions for yourself, as your daddy did when he was 17 or 18. Go and do it. Whatever you want to do, ask the questions. And make sure you bring all of your questions that you've written down and ask them all. But baby, know that you may never get any answers at this point, and the answers you may get may be too painful or not even true. That's not okay, but we will get through this together. Know that the same questions I have today as I write you this note. I want those same answers, as hard as they may be. But I've learned over the past 30 years that some answers are just not worth getting. And if the people you go to for the truth do not give it, then that, as you will come to learn, is all the truth you need. Remember always that none of this is your fault, and as an 8-year-old, you loved your Bubba in the best way a sissy could. To my beautiful 28-year-old Lena, by now you have come to realize that some of those you loved and trusted were never worthy of your sweet, pure love to begin with. This is a hard truth that your daddy learned when he was about 26 when Bubba was born. It will be a hard thing to understand and fully accept, but you will understand soon and accept it for what it was way back in 2020. By now, although Daddy already doesn't approve, you will probably have a family and babies of your own. Nonetheless, hold them, love them, show them pictures, and tell them of sweet stories of your Bubba. Tell them at your own worst how wonderful they are. Each and every day, and how it's the people in our lives that matter. And the things will come and go and can be replaced, and the things really don't matter. It's the people in our lives that matter. As I told you and Bubba every day, tell them, love each other and take care of one another. Chris, thank you for that story. I'd never heard that story, but every day I told him, I fussed at him every day. Do not leave. We live 3 houses down from the bus stop. If he got home before his sister, he was in trouble. That's how much I told him every day. Stay with your little sister. And Lena raised them with love and togetherness. Lastly, to my all too grown up 38-year-old Lena, at this point in your life, you will probably have to accept that, as I have, as a 38-year-old son does too, that the complete truth will probably never be told. You soon will learn, although I pray through far less tragic circumstances, why you endured these past 30 years. Your pain and heartache will save a life or lead another soul to our Savior. Your kids will love you because for their entire lives you raised them with love and care as you showed for your friends and even your baby sister here in 2020. They will, as it says in Proverbs 31, rise up and call you blessed. You will see that there is no greater pleasure in life that what the verse says you will get, but you have to read and live by the whole chapter to get that, Lena. The whole chapter. So over the past 30 years, I pray that you have become a strong, amazing woman, turning your pain into peace for others, taking your loss and creating gain for others, but never lose your own soul. Say to all with the Lord's guidance, I am the captain of my own soul. In closing, let me not underscore the pain I feel each and every day, when sometimes just throwing my left leg out of the bed is the only way that I can win that day. Sometimes I've woken up in the middle of the day on the floor after crying out to God for my baby boy. Or for just a moment of relief from all the other pains that have surfaced after this unhearable tragedy. Despite all the pain, God has provided each and every time the right amount of peace and relief every time I cry out to Him. Each and every person here in this room today is here because you have had a part. You have had a part in that, and I thank you each and every one with all my being. None of this takes away my true heart that I wish my little angel was not in heaven, but here with us on this earth. Thank you.
Would you direct your attention to the two screens?
By the beauty of your life, I have seen a miracle. I have seen a miracle. Blessed days with you in the corner of my arm. I have seen a miracle. I have seen miracle. The sun, it shines for you. The grass is green, the sky is blue. And there you are, like you are. You're feeling so natural. Find your blue-eyed way, my darling, will guide you, but you find it on your own. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound is to me. You're feeling so natural. Find your blue-eyed way, my darling, will guide you, but you find it on your own. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound is to me. I have seen a miracle. I have seen a miracle. The earth is here, it's here for you. The 7 fish, the owls too. And there you are, like you are. You're feeling so natural. Find your blue-eyed way, my darling, will guide you back. You'll find it on your own. Oh, farewell. By the beauty of your life,